Seems like just yesterday we were looking around and there's hardly anything in the ground, and now there's still hardly anything in the ground. So I'm gonna start out on a low heat and get this whole pan kind of tempered up, ready to go. We're gonna start in with our leeks here. We're gonna go save these guys for a stock. What I like to do is cut them in half just to kind of investigate here, see if we got any dirt in there. If you got some dirt, we're gonna clean that up. Give those a nice soak. I'd like to go pretty thin, because what we're gonna do is peel these potatoes and then slice them. The thing is, you wanna have everything, your base, kind of small and thin so they can hide in between the layers of potato. We're gonna take our shallot. I'm just gonna go half on this guy. One kind of a small dice. Like I said, you know, these things are gonna be hiding in between the layers of potatoes, so you want them fairly small. A nice little chop there, in with the leeks. Now garlic. In France, the recipe for pomme gratin dauphinoise calls for only garlic and nutmeg. But since I don't like following rules, I'm gonna make up some of my own. You can add a lot of garlic and it doesn't even taste garlicky because it cooks out in the milk and it's just really, really beautiful in there. Okay, we'll keep it just like that. A little rough there. So now our pan's getting hot over here. We're gonna check on that. We're good to go. So we're gonna go in with some olive oil. Good amount of olive oil in this. And I'm also gonna hit it with some butter in the pan. And you don't want it to brown at all. So now we're gonna go in with the garlic, shallots, and leek here. Look at that, that's beautiful already. Perfect. A little bit of salt in there. And we'll season this again when we hit it with milk and cream. So what we're gonna do now is get onto these potatoes, get these guys, start peeling them. You guys can do this with a peeler at home, but it's always good to have your paring knife skills happening. Should have picked a bigger knife for that. Then we're gonna work on slicing these guys. But first we're gonna introduce our milk into this dish. Fresh, organic, whole milk. I like whole milk for this dish. You can use skim, whatever you want. So I'm gonna go in just a little bit. This is heavy cream. This is totally optional as well. We're gonna go in about half a cup there. So now the fun part, we get to slice our potatoes. You can do this by hand too, no big deal. This just goes a little faster. But you wanna check for thickness here, because if the potatoes aren't thick enough, what happens is they'll start to break down and you get mush right away. So what you want is a potato right in about that width. And if you're using a mandolin, a cool trick is take a towel, put it over the potato. That way you can wreck a towel and not your fingers. All right, so now we have a beautiful pot of potatoes. So now all we need to do is bring this up to temperature a little bit faster here. We're gonna prep our dish. You can use anything for this. I like using cast iron because with cast iron, it holds a lot of heat and it also will get this really nice browning around the potatoes, and that's just extra flavor. Just a little bit of butter. Let that get soft and then we're gonna rub that around. This is gonna take quite a bit of salt. So I'm gonna go in with another 2 fingers of that. Stir that around. Of course, some pepper. You can use white pepper if you'd like. And then we're gonna do some fresh nutmeg in there. So you're gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 turns, call it 9. You can already see the milk in here thickening. So I'm actually gonna add a little bit more milk here, just a little bit. So now you can see in the pot here, the potatoes are resting just above the milk. So that's kind of where what you're looking for right there. You don't want them swimming in there. Now what we're gonna do is check for seasoning. And if you've seasoned it too much, just run away or throw it away, cover it up. Start over. That's not true. You can add more milk, more potatoes, and just adjust it. It's pretty easy to do. Seasonings are right on. I would highly suggest doing this with leeks. Maybe trying some fennel too. Getting a little crazy. All right, so what is happening here, we have thickened milk. I mean, you can see how thick that's getting right now. This is a simple dish, but you have to, there's some technique in it. So you really want to pay attention. And the biggest part of it is having the appropriate amount of milk. And as you can see still, the potatoes are just sitting above the milk. And what's happening now, it's just burbling and glugging around and just having just a merriment time. So now we got some beautiful fresh green chives. And I love just shaved chives. It looks so cool. And we're gonna chop these guys also for our second potato dish. And here's the deal, when you're cooking and you're doing a job, don't be afraid to stop what you're doing when you're paying attention to your pot over here. Now you can see in there how thick the liquid, the milk has gotten. I mean, that's like almost sticking to the spoon. I mean, you can see in the pot here that it's really thick, and when you move your spoon, barely any liquid is falling down to the bottom, so you can see the bottom. So what you want to do is just add a little bit more. Give these guys another 2-3 minutes. The big thing is you just don't want to overcook your potatoes. We're going to do another little test here on one of them, see where we're at. So just give them a fold over. Now they've still got some bone to them, so we're just going to keep cooking them. I mean, they are cosmic potatoes. They're not going to just break for anybody. So a little bit of butter on the bottom. That's a tablespoon, nice and soft. Just work that in there. We are at that stage. We have 4 or 5 potatoes broken in there. You can see these little fragments. But right now, what I like to do is kill the heat and just kind of layer the potatoes like that in there. And you can see how thick, almost non-existent, that milk has become. So kind of pat that down. Now what we're gonna do is just cover that guy with the cheese. It's a combination of Gruyère and Comté, which is a French cheese, Gruyère being a Swiss cheese, but both cave aged. We got our oven right now preset to about 415 degrees. So let's go fire this bad boy in the oven. We'll be back. Right in its new little home. All right, so Jed's back. We got bubbling potatoes. We're gonna do the chive thing right now. Spring, get in here. Check this out, man.
Make this time. Look at this.
Oh,
This is
man.
another awesome dish.
Oh man. Oh, now smell that with the chives in there.
It's the comfort food. Oh,
Dude, it's
that is
real
good.
food. Real
That
food.
Is good.
Oh.
It's good.
So that's it.
Another awesome dish.
Cosmic apple,
Oh,
pomme gratin dauphinoise, or potato gratin. Or scalloped potatoes.
That's
However you want to
nice.
cut it. Cast iron
at that.
potatoes. Oh, you put a steak with this in a big red wine. What more do you want?
It's all you need. It's some of the best food ever.